The breeze begins to change from warm to cold, and the skies shift its color from blue to orange, indicating it was about to turn evening. The people living in the kingdom of Callista started preparing for the night. There were some who were rushing to get home afraid that they might get mugged or worse. The kingdom isn't dangerous, but it wasn't full of good citizens either. It was better to be safe than sorry. One of the most infamous assassins, better known as Slayers, was on her way to go to her one and only favorite tavern in the kingdom, located in the dark district where trouble was unavoidable. Welcome to the... Oh, well, if it isn't my favorite customer. You're early today. How could I not notice? You're the asshole that comes into my tavern just before we close. Don't give me that. Don't you know how annoying it is when customers come in when we're cleaning? You're lucky we've been friends ever since. Without having to tell Vincent, the tavern keeper, they start to prepare and pour the drink that the listener usually orders at the tavern. The tavern keeper continues to speak as they serve the listener her drink. Hey, I heard the leader of the Aces had a talk with you. Did he invite you for tea to bond, or is it for something else? Another job? Surprising. Never thought that lunatic would ever find someone again outside their cult group. You must have impressed him. If you think it's difficult, then he must have offered you good money to finish the job. Who is the poor soul he's making you go after now? Oh, you can't say. Icarus didn't want you talking about the last one too. I'm sensing a pattern here. Whoever he is making you go after now must have pissed him off. I'd hate to be on his bad side. Just having to deal with some of his goons already is already a pain in the ass. Imagine having to deal with him. Yeah, his men have been giving me trouble lately. There's more fights than usual nowadays. It's difficult having to clean up blood off the wooden tables and chairs. I would have gone myself metal furniture, but that might make the fights worse. And furniture like that are pretty expensive too. I can't just kick him out. You know how they are. And reporting them to the enforcers would be useless. They're not just going to walk off without a fight, and I am not willing to swing a punch when it's unnecessary. I could hire somebody, but I don't have the money for it. Not that anybody could take these thugs out anyway. But it would be nice to have extra hands with keeping the peace in this place. I appreciate the offer, kid, but no thanks. In case you forgot, you're a professional and infamous criminal. Just because we're friends doesn't give me a pass to make you work for me for free. It's not how things work around here. I highly respect you and you deserve to be paid for what you do. Their little argument was cut short, as something breaking inside the tavern grabs the attention of both listener and the tavern keeper. Voices from different Patreons became louder too. Oh, for fuck's sake, they're at it again. No, didn't you hear what I said? I'm not letting you do the violent work for me. I've been handling this ever since I built this tavern. Just stay here and don't bring your stubbornness into this, or else I'll have to fight you myself. Don't underestimate me, Slayer. I can take you down alone if I want to. Oh, also, some enforcers came by and asked me to give you something. Check behind the bar. Hearing what her friend said, she breathed in deep, mentally bracing herself for whatever the royal assholes wanted from her. Are they planned an arrest again? Surely not. Right? Listener reached over at the back of the little bar and saw a letter. Her eyes widened upon seeing the seal. A wax seal on the letter indicates that someone from the royal family wrote the letter themselves. Chances of this happening were slim to none, so this is a big deal. Reading the letter, listener felt her heart drop. Fuck, she whispered to herself as she finished. The moon now shines brightly along with numerous small blinking lights in the night sky. Everyone in the city were now sound asleep in their cozy homes. But of course, nighttime is the perfect time for Patreon and customers to entertain themselves in pubs and explicit entertainment places in the same dark district where the tavern was. Luckily for listener, those lively places were far from the castle, making it easy for her to travel there without being spotted. Listener arrives in the castle grounds with dread overwhelming her body. The last thing she wants is to be surrounded by enforcers, who she had a terrible past with, as well as a royal. She could feel eyes on her with every step she took. That brought her closer to the castle. The guards let the slayer in easily, yet kept their eyes on her like a hawk, ready to move when she does anything. She couldn't blame them. She is a dangerous woman after all. Listener arrives inside the castle, where General Carson stood waiting for her. He smiles at her, pretending as if the two never met before. Good to see you again, Slayer. Looking beautiful as always. Listener continues to walk, completely ignoring him, pretending as if she didn't hear anything, let alone even acknowledge his presence. General Carson let out a sigh as he watched her walk past him without even glancing to his direction. Of course, she ignored me. Putting it aside, General Carson jogged to catch up to Listener and continued to try to make small talk. So, how have you been these days? I bet you've been swimming around in gold after running around doing errands for people, eh? So feisty. If somebody tick you off, ruin your day, surely seeing the future king will help you lift your spirits up. Might even crack a smile on you. Why so? Do you hate the soon-to-be king that much? What's he ever done that made you so mad about him? The royal bloodline is not to be blamed for every struggling individual out there. That includes you as well as your family. But I truly am sorry you had to suffer so young. What do you expect we've done? Stealing is wrong in every shape and form. It's against the law after all. Aw, come on, Slayer. Let's put all that behind us. I was just doing my job protecting the citizens of the kingdom. No personal feelings. Again, no personal feelings. I was just doing my job. Anybody who breaks the rules gets a punishment. It's just so happens that what you did earned you a severe punishment. Good intentions done through morally wrong actions are still wrong. Don't bother trying to justify what you did. Stealing food is still wrong. You are making it tremendously difficult to get along with you. I'm trying my best to make friends, you know. Sweetheart, that's not how things work here. You don't just work alone, we work together. Working alone is a result of someone dying. And that could be you if you keep up this lone wolf act. Do not bring up my fallen soldiers into the Slayer. Listener and General Carson now walked quietly to where Prince Donovan was. Him and Listener don't exactly get along, and memories they both shared leaves a sour taste on both their tongues. It was as if the universe fated that both of them were just sworn enemies. Listener rolls her eyes, recalling his words. I'm trying my best to make friends. The two of them enter what seemed to be a little office where Prince Donovan spends most of his time. Donovan looked up from wherever he was reading and saw Listener. A small smirk forms on his face, seeing the infamous troublemaker. Here comes trouble. Your Highness, the Slayer has arrived. What a sight. Welcome to my humble abode, Slayer. Straight to the point. I like that. Prince Donovan then faced all of his guards, including General Carson. Please, leave us be. I must talk to my new escort privately. Your Highness, are you sure you want to be alone with her? I'm certain you know that she's a what, General? She's a criminal, someone who has killed over 50 people. This is the entire reason why she is here. If that's the entire reason why she's here, then why shouldn't she be locked up and punished for all this life she's taken? It was foolish of me to think we'd ever get along. If I could, I would have sacrificed your useless life to bring back me men. You little... Enough, both of you. But, Your Highness, she started this. I don't understand why you need her. A criminal to protect you. She is one of the biggest threats to your life, and you're keeping her close. General Carson turns to face Listener, and begins circling around her as he continues to speak. How are we even sure she won't do anything to you? For all we know, she could strike at you when you least expect it. After all, they're good at it. All slayers like this, one never see the light of day again. I said enough. If I were to sit here and listen to any more of your moaning, my ears would bleed, General. Take your men and leave now. Understood, Your Highness. Like a little lapdog, General Carson left the room along with the other guards. He didn't want to go against the prince's orders. If he did, he wouldn't be so different compared to someone like Listener. The last thing he wants is to be put on the same level as her. My apologies for General Carson's behavior. He has been restless ever since hearing my decision. Wow, you must hate me so much, huh? Well, with that being said, I'm surprised you actually showed up. I heard from different sources that you don't like coming in face to face with anybody who wants to work with you. I also heard you're not really fond of me or anybody from the higher class. What do you expect? I'm hiring the deadliest slayer to protect me, of course. I do my assignment. You're here now, aren't you? If you didn't want this job, you could have swept the offer under the rug, kept your mouth shut about it, and pretend that nothing happened. Of course I wanted it a secret. Imagine how enemies would react if they got word of me needing more protection. Slayer, are you forgetting who I am? I'm the future king of Callista. And if the people's soon-to-be ruler gets injured or dies, even before he claims the throne, then it will cause chaos among the citizens. I cannot allow for that to happen. They are still mourning over my father's death. They don't need to mourn over mine anytime soon. Hearing about the king's death made listener lick her own lips out of nervousness. The letter sent to her written by him didn't mention any of the king's death. Unless this was a trap to arrest her? The more she stayed here, the more she began to regret coming. What's with that look on your face? Do you know something about my father's death? No, I know he didn't just die naturally. That's all I have to say. Say whatever you want about me, Slayer. I'm just doing what I believe is the best for everybody. So, do we have a deal? There's something in me telling that you're the best and maybe even my only choice for this. If you decline, then you can just leave. I'm an easy person to talk to. But the only thing I ask from you is give your word in keeping this a secret. It's that easy. Although I presume you know somebody else who could use the money instead of you. This is good money after all. I wouldn't want it to go to waste. How much am I offering? I can pay you more than you can live off in a year. Don't think of me so cheap, Slayer. So insulting. Prince Donovan opened a drawer from his desk and threw a bag full of coins. And it wasn't just any coins. It was filled with gold coins. Listener's eyes widened. It's been so long since she's had gold coins in her possession. And the amount of a single gold coin was enough to buy her a meal for the day. With how much was in the bag, she could live off comfortably for a while. Something Listener wished ever since she was a child. You can count how much is in that if you're interested. There we go. That's the face I've been waiting for. I believe it's safe to say I've persuaded you into accepting this job then. Brilliant. After this, you are to leave the castle and back to your home to pack up whatever you need. I'll be waiting here to escort you to your room. I'll be personally bringing you to your room because I don't want you breaking anything in my home. That includes the bones of my guards. Considering how you, Slayers, behave combined with your attitude, you might hurt one of my men. And I cannot let that happen. I'm positive I have a clear idea of who you are. Tell me, have you seen yourself in the mirror? Prince Donovan stood up from his chair he sits on, and started walking slowly to where the listener stood. He approached her, eyeing her up and down as he spoke. What do you call those on your skin? Decorations? Stickers? What about these on your clothes? The colors on that shirt are yours or fading, but not those awkward red stains on it. Don't you think those things on you are enough to let people have an idea of what type of person you are? As Prince Donovan finished speaking, he sat down on the edge of the table, arms crossed. Please, without knowing the full story, spare me the tears, Slayer. You really think anybody would sympathize with this killer? Am I now? I'm making this harder than it already is. Then why don't you just leave? I thought so. That's all I have to say for now. You can leave and pack up. What now? Save it for later. I can answer your questions once I bring you to your room. Now leave. You're back already? That was quick. Is this really all of your belongings? I was expecting you to have at least 2 bags of your items. But I guess not. Let me carry your... Alright then. You're a big girl after all. You can carry your own things. Follow me to where your room will be. It is. The castle is a bit too big for my taste, but better than having no roof over your head. It's not that I don't like the castle. I just feel that it's unnecessary to have such a big place like this. Sure, it's fun, but over time it gets quiet. I am allowed to leave. However, I always am accompanied by someone when I do. It's a pain having someone tail on me, so I just stay inside. I won't get annoyed at you following me unless you act like an annoying brat. Me, boring. I just don't like nuances. Oh my, you think the job is already boring? It hasn't even started yet. Well, do you have any suggestions to make this less boring for you? You work for me, of course. I want to know what I can do to satisfy you. What did you just say? The playful smirk on the listener's face quickly faded as she noticed Prince Donovan stopped walking alongside her. As she turns to look, Prince Donovan leaned to her, making her back to the wall. He placed his hand on the wall just close to her head, preventing her from moving away. Listener's eyes widened and her breath hitched. Next time, think before you try taunting me, Slayer. Or else you'll end up like this, being pinned up against the wall. Or maybe even pinned down somewhere else. Listener blinks rapidly, flustered and taken off guard at the sudden boldness of the prince. Even though she gets around, she rarely hears anything about Prince Donovan. He's a mystery for her. She might be in for a ride that's too much for her. Listener did what she's always done whenever someone would get too close to her, and that was to push the person off. Luckily, the prince was quick and caught his balance, easily dodging the chances of falling. You're lucky the guards aren't here. If they saw you push me like that, they'd behead you right here, right now. I need to put you back at your place. And that's what I did. I have to say, your reaction to that was quite adorable. You don't need to whine about it, since we're already here in front of your room. Listener's eyes glistened in delight, seeing such a grand and spacious room. She felt overwhelmed at every single item that was inside. This room looked to be even bigger than her entire hideout where she lives. Make yourself at home, Slayer. Here are you in your bathroom, closet, and a little area for you to sit and read books. I do apologize if the interior is not up to your liking, but you can redecorate to your heart's desire. Just tell me what you want, and I'll do my best to give you whatever you ask. Listener sits on the bed. Everything in the castle has only the finest and highest quality of all materials. along with the most educational books, so don't hesitate to use anything here. It's a bit late now, so I'll be taking my leave. Get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow. And just like that, Listener was left alone inside her assigned room. She stood on her spot for a moment to further let the events that unfolded sink into her. She let out an exhale. Nothing of this supposed to be part of the plan. But maybe it's a blessing in disguise. This could be an opportunity for her. It was the dead of night. Listener slipped out of her room with a knife in hand. She sneaked past the guards that were patrolling around the castle, successfully made her way into the prince's room. She slowly opens the door as if not to wake the sleeping royal. Listener raised her hand with the knife, ready to get the job done, but the prince didn't seem like he was a heavy sleeper. Listener immediately hid the knife, quietly, but hurried, slipping the knife under the bed, hoping the prince didn't see anything. Slayer? What the hell are you doing here? Really? You just wanted to check up on me. Wow. Someone's a workaholic. Relax, Slayer. There's multiple guards outside patrolling, so I don't think anybody will get in here. You can enjoy tonight and sleep soundly. You're gonna need it for the next few days. Apology accepted. Mission failed, though maybe Listener would succeed next time. She shouldn't be rushing any job given to her after all. It would be a recipe for disaster. Thank goodness that Prince Donovan didn't see her holding the weapon. Listener excuses herself and was about to turn away but was stopped. Wait. Stop. Where do you think you're going? Why? I know I said that, but since you're already here, stay with me. Who do you think is in charge here? I'm not going to repeat myself again, darling. Come over here or I'll make you. Good girl. Hold on. You're not getting in bed with me wearing those. Take them off. Don't be absurd. I'm not telling you to strip. That's the thing you're wearing. And those pants. Do you really go to bed wearing all of that? Doesn't it get uncomfortable? Well, this is my bed, and I decide what gets on it. And I don't want those filthy clothes of yours on my bed. Hurry and take them off. First you took me as cheap, now a pervert. Such slander. There's clothes in the wardrobe over there. Change into that. Okay. I'll turn around. I'm always ready when a woman wants to sleep in my room. That's why I have those clothes there. That's up to you to imagine, sweetheart. See, that wasn't so hard now, was it? Now come here and join me. After changing into the clothes that were in the wardrobe, Listener lazily moved to the bed and joined Prince Donovan, moving to the far end of his bed, keeping her distance. After all, this is the first night as his personal security, and she's already managed to get in bed with him. Something that hundreds of women in the kingdom dream of. If word gets out they're sleeping in one bed, she might start getting new enemies. Something wrong? We're just sharing a bed. I'm not gonna try anything on you, so relax. You're not really my type anyway, so... Possibly. Maybe you should wash that brain of yours for imagining it, then. That's what you get for being curious. As Listener was about to close her eyes, she heard soft shuffling behind her and soon flinched upon feeling Princess Donovan's arm wrap around her. As his body heat was just on her back, her eyes widened and her face flushed red, realizing that the prince was cuddling her. Listener tries to move away to get off his grip, but the more she moves, the more his grip on her tightens, locking her in place and pulling her closer. Would you stop squirming around? I like hugging something when I sleep, so just stop moving around. Very funny, Slayer. Okay, what do you want me to call you then? Anything but Slayer. Alright, darling. Then. Too late. I've made my decision. I'm gonna call you that from now on. That's your fault for giving me the freedom to choose what to call you. Maybe you should start practicing thinking first before speaking. I'm annoying. Get used to it. You're going to be with me for a while, and I'll make sure to keep you entertained. Now, go to sleep, darling, and good night. Why must I suffer like this? Listener thought to herself as she lay in bed in the arms of the soon-to-be king. It was supposed to be a simple job, but why did things take a turn? All Listener could do, as of now, is to hope for the best and pray that Icarus, the man who hired Listener to assassinate the man next to her, doesn't try anything.